let's go. I'm on a journey to discover the truth. Living life in recovery is lovely. You got the power in you. Surround yourself with positive energy. Judges hitting people with provocative penalties. Need to make a change. Advocate to change the laws. Prove to people that it's not insane. When you stand behind a cause, I'm here to speak about the pain. Recover loud to normalize the disease that's been killing all my friends and my family. The time is now to let it all go and recover loud. The benefit is healthy people, family and friends that never have to overdose ever again. Never have to plead out to a lesser offense. I'm proud to say that I recover loud. I never thought I could, but I'm so proud that I discovered how to live my life again, controlling my own destiny. I needed recovery, I still need it desperately. Addiction never defined my identity. I recover loud, here to tell my own story. I recover proud, save a life of like 40. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, here to tell my own story. I recover proud, save a life of like 40. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud. I recover loud. I recover loud. I recover loud.
I'm John Holmer, and I recover loud.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Recover Loud. I'm your host, Mike Paddleford, and I recover loud. This show first started with the hopes that we could help end the stigma of substance use disorder and try to help to save some lives. We do that by sharing stories of hope and by sharing some resources so people might find a path of recovery that can work for them. Tonight I'm sitting with my friend John Hollibert. John, we had you on the show last season. You were the first guest on Recover Loud. And we've come a long way since then.
For sure.
So your personal story, people can find that by watching the season 1 episode.
Yep.
Tonight I brought you here to discuss a resource that you and I both work with, Recovery Rustic.
Yep.
And would you mind telling us a little bit about what Recovery Rustic is?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having me. So I'm the chair of Recovery Rustic. We're a grassroots group of 8 or 10 people, and we work diligently to connect resources to people that are suffering from substance use disorder. Through activities and outreach and community involvement, we try to deter the stigma of substance use disorder. We're not always successful in that. We have a lot of work to do, but we are gaining a lot of ground.
Yeah. See, the county, I've always seen it as, pretty stigmatic about substance use disorder and even mental health. But, there were a lot of issues before that we didn't necessarily see all the time. Homelessness, the substance use problem has gotten pretty bad up here. So when I left for rehab, I struggled with the idea to come back because of the stigma, because the lack of resources. I didn't really feel safe here. So when I first started Recover Loud, the idea was actually to be loud enough that my friends here could see that we do recover and that there's ways to do it. So this past summer I came back, I gave you a call, and I said, is there work to do?
Plenty of it.
Yeah.
Plenty of it.
So we jumped right in.
With that was a great kickoff. We were just starting to reshape and reorganize Recovery Rustic, and a lot of nights I went to bed praying that Mike Paddleford moved back up here. And then when you did, it was a great partnership with Recover Loud and Recovery on the Road, and through those organizations, the three of us, we've really got a lot done.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, it never stops.
No.
Just a quick estimate: how many conversations do we usually have a day where it involves someone else?
Oh, at least 20. At least 20. Depending if it's text message or personal conversation, but at least 20.
Yeah, and it usually starts about 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And you know, we end up talking late into the night because, you know, we are receiving calls from people looking for help. And you know, you and I will talk and figure out a good plan. We'll offer it to them. You know, it's that kind of work that actually makes me appreciate, you know, the service, because when I was here, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know where to go, you know. So having, you know, an organization that I can call would have been great. A month ago, 35 days ago, you called me, and you know, somebody had come into your shop, and you want to tell them what happened with that call?
Yeah, so a gentleman come in, 3 or 4 months ago, explaining to me a situation about his brother and how he had suspected that there was some substance use going on, but he wasn't really sure, and he knew that, you know, knowing that I advocate for recovery because I recover loud, and you know, asked me about some resources, and I guess I must have gave him some information and some direction, and you know, lo and behold, when you plant those seeds, you never know when they're going to come back. You know,
Exactly.
3 months later, he shows up in my shop again. I count his bottles. He says, "Do you remember me?" I kind of really didn't. And then he said, "You know, so and so, my brother, you know, came to judgment today about his children and this and that, and I need him help. I need him help now." And he's ready. He wants help. He's asking for it. So I passed along your number, sent him with my number. I said, "As soon as you see him, you know, pass these digits on and give us a call." And he did. And geez, I got a call back last week from North Conway, New Hampshire, and this individual will be heading home this Saturday with about 38 days clean and sober.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it works. It
Yeah,
works.
and you know, that was actually I mean, that was almost a miracle situation,
Yeah.
because you know, we do have difficulty finding beds for somebody when they're ready. A lot of times, it turns out that they have to wait,
Yeah.
and sometimes they decide not to wait.
Most of the time.
Yeah,
And that's the biggest gap we have in northern Maine is I want to get help to detox. That time lapse is
Yeah,
where we
and-
struggle.
yeah, and I mean, that's a problem all over the state, and you know, organizations like ours and others, you know, we're trying to you know, do something about that problem. I know there's a few detoxes that are in the works throughout the state,
Yep.
and you know, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm also on the board of an Angels Wing, and that's a project that they're working on in Lewiston, and you know, just more opportunities, more beds,
Yeah,
you
beds.
know, and as many as we can. But of course, that's only one path of recovery.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but you know, it's the most common, and you know, seems to be the quickest
Yep.
when we can get him in. So for him to actually, within 36 hours, I believe he was
Yeah.
in New Hampshire.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and when he comes back, you know, we don't just drop him.
No.
You know, when he comes back, we're going to be here to support
That's
him.
when the real work starts.
Yeah.
That's when the real work starts on our end. You know, a lot of these people are blown away when they come back, and well, either way, they're blown away when they come back and they have no resources and no support, and they go
Yeah.
back out and relapse. And then they're also blown away when they come back and we have a plan in order for them.
Exactly.
And then they think, wow, people actually do care about me. You know, there
Yeah.
are people here to help me. So then they start living and building a community of recovery,
Exactly.
and which prevents them from returning to their old friends and their old lifestyle, which is a much greater success story.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of times when we come back from you know, either jail or rehab, we fall back into the same circles because that's what we know.
Yep.
And you know, to have another circle
Yep.
is really
Yeah, it's
you know,
huge.
a benefit.
It's just as important to have another circle as it is to try to find them a bed as soon as possible when they're ready.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's the same level.
Yeah, so you know, I'm looking forward to him coming back this weekend, and you know, I have already been talking about, you know, things we can do.
Yep.
He's lucky enough; he owns his own home, so he's got a place to go to. Not everybody has that opportunity.
Right.
You know, they come out of detox or rehab, and you know, their housing situation is great.
Yep.
You know, one of the best resources that, you know, we have in the state would be recovery housing,
Yep.
which offers people, you know, a chance to reintegrate, to learn and use their new skills,
Yep.
and to really get a good start. Can you tell us a little bit about the Caribou Recovery Houses?
Yeah, so we have partnered with another organization here in town, and we have opened a men's house and a women's house. So the men's house, I believe, holds 8 men. COVID really put a shatter on a lot of things, so we've been singling up the rooms and not filling to capacity because of the COVID scares. But they're going really well. We have a house manager, newly applied, and my wife, actually, Elizabeth, oversees that. And they work hard to connect resources inside of living sober. Like a job, maybe getting their license back, counseling. If they have to go to doctor's appointments and Suboxone clinics and stuff like that, this house manager, connects them to all that stuff. And we're trying to integrate them and have some accountability so they can learn how to, a lot of these people don't know how to do their own laundry. They don't know how to cook. I learned how to cook and do laundry in jail.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for jail, I wouldn't know how to do any of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and that actually happened for me in rehab.
Yeah.
I didn't, I wasn't used to responsibility.
Right.
I did not take care of things myself.
Right.
So just learning how to live.
Yep.
And that's a big thing. And learning how to live without, relying on substances to deal with daily struggles.
Yep.
So having a sober house or a recovery house is,
Yep.
Provides that for them. And as you said, I know Recovery Rustic as well as Carl. They try to give that full support.
Yes.
100%. If they need a ride to their appointments,
Yep.
I know they're getting rides. The connection to the community.
Yeah.
Not everybody that goes into a house is from the area. And one important thing that we see with these houses, regardless of where they are, is some make it and some go the other way.
Yep.
So there's somewhat turnover.
Yeah.
But we try with every person that comes in.
That's right.
Do the best we can.
That's right.
And ultimately it is an individual's decision
Yep.
to do what they want, because this isn't like a, there's no, it's not a jail.
No. These are grown adults
Yeah.
trying to live on their own. And the thing we run into a lot with the houses is, some people expect to stop doing drugs 8 a.m. in the morning and want to get in the house because they want help at noontime.
Yeah.
And that's not the right placement for them. So that's where we run into problems with that gap of resources,
Yeah.
and like it's statewide, like you said. It's I look at it like a train. You get off active addiction on the train, and your first stop's normally a detox or a rehab or something along those lines, and then after that you get off into the house. And a lot of these people and a lot of these individuals want to get right into the house, and it's dangerous. It's a slippery slope because who's to say this guy's not ready for the house, but
Right.
but then he goes in and takes out the rest of them. So it's tough.
Yeah, and that's something that I learned. I've stayed in a couple houses. I haven't managed any. But just knowing that, every individual deserves a safe place to live.
Yes.
And, as the organization, we got to try to provide a safe place for everybody. Just like me, you guys do support whatever pathway.
Oh yeah.
You're not forcing any programs down their throat.
No.
So what's it like for a guy to move into a recovery house? I know for me, we had to have meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah. So there's definitely policies in place. There's urine analysis. There's mandatory meetings. Which meetings? When I say meetings, I don't mean NAAA. It doesn't have to be NA or AA. It can be a
Pro-social events.
Yeah, it can be a faith-based church group or something positive that encourages fellowship.
I think counseling.
Counseling.
qualifies.
Yeah. We also have a couple house meetings, that we can attend and whatnot. On top of that, you have a chore list. You want to see normal day-to-day behavior happening in the household. So when the house manager comes in, if the sink's full of dishes, well, she can go to the list and say who's on dishes this week.
Yeah.
Okay, so this guy's not participating in our program ultimately.
Yeah.
And
And the
what's
program
going
is
on.
basically their lives.
Yeah, daily living.
Yeah.
Daily living. It's a pretty simple program, but for somebody that's fresh in recovery, it's difficult stuff and it's fearful.
Yeah.
It's fearful moving into a house, being on your own, and like when I was in rehab, that was like safe. 2 days before release, I was building anxiety, like, oh man,
Right,
I got
because
to go
now-
back to life here.
And you have to make your own decisions.
That's right. And now it's up to me whether I use or don't use,
Right.
or go back down the same road I was on that I
Yeah.
didn't want to be on.
Yeah, and I went into a recovery house right out of rehab. I was kicked out of rehab. Went into the recovery house, and I was nervous because I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I didn't want to use.
Yeah.
And to me that meant I couldn't come home yet. I wasn't ready for that.
Yep.
But I got a good job. I was able to buy a car. But when it came to working a program of recovery where I was bettering myself,
Yeah.
I was slacking. And I got kicked out of the house too.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I lived in that car that I was able to buy for about 10 months.
Yeah.
Because my desire to not use was stronger than my willingness to take the chance, of losing that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I did what I had to do. And, so one thing that did for me was give me a lot of connections, a lot of supports.
Yeah.
Because it's like a brotherhood when you're doing this together.
Definitely. And that's well needed.
Yeah.
This whole, this is not an I program. Recovery doesn't happen by yourself. It can't. I don't believe it can. I don't think you're ever gonna up and say I'm all done, and then 10 years down the road you're living by yourself, all alone, still not reaching out, still sober. It's pretty well unheard of.
Yeah, I know. For me, my head is not a good place for me to stay.
No, me neither. Me neither.
So getting out and being able to talk about our problems. We don't have to hide our emotions,
Right.
like we used to. I met you years ago, and we used together, and it was your recovery that sparked my interest.
You never know, and I didn't even intentionally do
Right.
that. That's where the beautiful thing about spreading the good word is and recovering loud.
Yeah.
If I would have been scared and not willing to tell you at the window that day that I was sober and in recovery, then who knows if we'd be sitting here today. And I don't take credit for that, but
Right.
at the same time, if I'm not saying it out loud and people don't know it, then what's the point? If I didn't ever hear any success stories, then I would never believe there's success there. It was never an option for me. I never even believed I could get sober. I had accepted the fact that I was an addict and I was going to be for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I was the same way.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that it would be the rest of my life. It was until I would die.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Meaning the same thing, but two different views, really.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was simple. I remember I hadn't seen you in a little while. I didn't know what happened to you.
Yeah.
But then I went to the Redemption Center that day, and I saw you work, and I was thinking, get together later.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, I'm sober. It was like the first thing you said, and probably
It
didn't say
scared
much
me,
after that.
It scared me to see somebody that I used to use with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was a fearful situation, actually.
Yeah, and
But-
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Because I never heard anybody say that,
Yeah.
I heard people say that, they had some of the medications, but they weren't using it as a program of recovery.
Right. And like for me, when I went and got sober, I didn't go to get sober. I got arrested and incarcerated, and God did for me what I couldn't do for myself. And because of that, I came home, but I didn't come home. I was out of town for a 48-day rehab, and then 13 or 14 months incarcerated.
Yeah.
So when I did come back, I had a little program underneath me, and if I did do rehab once before that, 45 days, and when I came home, I relapsed because I fell back into that same circle.
Yeah.
And the resources up here now are tenfold of what we had when I got sober 5 years ago, so we are gaining traction.
Yeah.
Recovery Rustic's doing big things. Like I said, partnered with Recover Loud and Recovery on the Road. We got things going on like the 636 campaign, which is a t-shirt that memorializes people that have died from substance use disorder. We did a 5K race in memorial of Trevor Graves this past summer. That was a big turnout, and it's just bringing public eye to the disease, which lessens the stigma, because this is put on by people in recovery that today can walk around with a smile on their face.
Yeah, and one thing that I find is there's a lot of people they see people in recovery as the people that hurt them years ago. There's redemption seems impossible. But we know that that's not true everywhere. We know that people are opening up, and when we get out there and show them that we do recover,
Yep.
and we can do good things.
That's for sure.
You know, that really helps.
Yep.
One of the other programs, real quick, that Recovery Rustic has partnered with is Blue Sky Counseling to provide, an MAT program for people who are looking to get on, to an MAT with counseling. I work for them as a recovery coach, and people can call me, and we can get them, a lot of times next day. So that's been a great partnership. Looking forward to growing that some more. There's more to come.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
I know for the future we're planning events.
Yep.
There's going to be a concert in the spring.
Yep. Hopefully a Harley Davidson poker rod.
Yeah.
Right now we've just kicked off the first week of Let's Talk About Substances, which is based on family support, that anybody that's lost or suffered any type of trauma due to the disease. We've hired a counselor, Travis Durapo, a therapist, and he's working with the families. And I think it's every other week. We have 12 slots pre-registered open, and 12 slots are full. So we have a full program.
Yeah, and that's really great. It says a lot about the need.
Yep.
And the desire to do something about it.
Yeah, for sure.
to really work on it.
Sure.
So,
and I'm super proud of the group. We've really dug deep lately, and we meet every third Tuesday. So we can always use help. We can always use help. If you guys want to reach out on the Recovery Rustic Facebook page, please do so. We could always use members. Always.
Yeah, and there's also ways you can donate to Recovery Rustic.
Yep.
And when you donate to Recovery Rustic, you can, pick a program. That we're supporting.
Yeah, the Sunshine Fund is actually coming to an end, and the facilitator of that fund has donated the rest of the funds that were left over into Recovery Rustic, in which we are making a scholarship for the recovery residences. So, a lot of these people come in with no money, no options. So, first month's rent and down payment is impossible. It's impossible. So, in order to, we don't want to see dollar signs prevent somebody's life from recovery.
Yeah. And also, real quick, by the end of the month, we have some raffle tickets for 100 gallons of fuel oil.
Yep, November 30th we'll be drawing for 100 gallons of home heat fuel.
Yeah.
If anybody would like some tickets, reach out. Recovery Rustic Facebook. So Recovery Rustic meets every third Tuesday at 46 Sweden Street, Suite C, at 6 o'clock. We'd love to have you. Welcome to Rick's Redemption, where we are family owned and operated. We strive in cleanliness, honesty, and customer appreciation. Rick's Redemption is a recovery-ready employer who believes wholeheartedly in redemption. Here at Rick's, we support Recovery Rustic and definitely are proud to recover loud. God bless.
John, you also own your own redemption center in Prescott.
I do, Rick's Redemption, yep.
Yeah, and I'm grateful to have a chance to work one day a week for you.
Yep.
I see how you interact with the customers. It's always a pleasurable experience, from what it seems to me.
Yeah.
And you're always offering hope.
Yeah.
That's a great place for somebody to stop in. They can get our cards.
90 State Street.
And they can also buy those raffle tickets.
Yep.
And they can also pick up a copy of Journey magazine.
Yep. It's right on the counter.
Yeah, because we're trying to help promote recovery.
Yep. You never know who's feeling hopeless.
Yeah.
So you talk to everybody with hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And with all that you do, I know for me it's pretty tiring.
Yeah.
Extremely. The end of the week, the end of the day, the end of the week, and but why do you do this?
Why do I do this? Because I've never had something so fulfilling to see somebody that feels like they're nothing succeed into something. And also, I came from that lifestyle. So without that support, I wouldn't be here today. I have the most beautiful wife in the world. I have a beautiful daughter. I just left my son's basketball game. I do get ungrateful at times, but there's not much in my life that I should be ungrateful about. I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
And it's all because of loving support from my parents and my brothers and my wife and her family. I never thought this was an option.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure everybody else knows that is an option.
Yeah, and you know, I think it was a good point that life doesn't get perfect just because we stop using substances.
Oh, far from it. But
No, and that's when we have to really deal with the issues that pop up.
Yep.
You know, we have laws, we have bills,
Yeah.
we have responsibilities, we have kids.
Yeah.
And you know, and there's a lot of stress.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know, but
Sure.
you know, knowing not to turn back to a substance.
Right.
You know, keeping that hope alive that things will be better tomorrow.
Yep.
You know,
Staying grateful that
Yeah.
you're able to sift through those feelings and
Yeah.
emotions and deal with day-to-day issues.
Yeah. Yeah. John, thanks for coming tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me, bud.
You know, I talk to you all the time. I see you every day.
Yes, sir.
You know, but I'm really happy that I get to do that.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Love you.
Thanks, pal. Keep recovering loud.
Yes, you too. Recover loud, everyone.
Anderson's Auto Repair, locally owned and operated in Sweden, Maine, specializes in all make, all model vehicle diagnosis and repair. Each individual service is backed by our nationwide TechNet 2-year 24,000-mile warranty. Call or stop in to schedule an appointment today. Anderson's Auto, for wherever the road takes you.
I recover loud, I recover loud, I recover loud. I recover loud, I recover loud. Let's go. I'm on a journey to discover the truth. Living life in recovery is lovely. You got the power in you. Surround yourself with positive energy. Judges hitting people with provocative penalties. Need to make a change. Advocate to change the laws. Prove to people that it's not insane. When you stand behind a cause, I'm here to speak about the pain. Recover loud to normalize the disease that's been killing all my friends and my family. The time is now to let it all go and recover loud. The benefit is healthy people, family and friends that never have to overdose ever again, never have to plead out to a lesser offense. I'm proud to say that I recover loud. I never thought I could, but I'm so proud that I discovered how to live my life again, controlling my own destiny. I needed recovery, I still need it desperately. Addiction never defined my identity. I recover loud, here to tell my own story. I recover proud, save a life of like 40. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, here to tell my own story. I recover proud, save a life of like 40. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud. I recover loud. I recover loud. I recover loud.